Hey, small business owner, I have a question for you. Actually, I have many questions for you, but we're going to start off with this question. Do you ever feel stuck or feel like you are not understanding where to begin when it comes to actually collecting the right data for the back end of your business, or in general, just making good data-driven decisions? And there's a reason why that is a very loaded question. That's why I started off by saying, I have many questions for you. Because just gathering data, that takes a lot of questions, a lot of personal questions that you have to ask your own business. It's kind of like a business self-assessment. And so if you are still feeling stuck, or if you are a brand new business owner, or if you are a seasoned business owner and you are finally starting to develop some sort of cadence for your quarterly or even monthly business routine, then this video is going to be for you. I'm going to share with you a program that I used once a month, more than once a month, to help me develop a really good cadence to not only keep track of my KPIs, but keep track of other data points that help me make data-driven decisions. So let's get started. And I really want to say I'm going to try to make this video as approachable for any type of business owner. So when I say data points, when I say KPIs, key performance indicators, I don't want you to click away. I want you to watch all the way through and to get some ideas, some SOPs, or some basic data points you should be gathering for the back end of your small business. Now, before we begin, hi, my name is Dolly DeLong. I am a systems and workflow educator for other small business owners. So what that basically means is I love teaching other small business owners about the importance of systems, workflows, SOPs, and how they impact the back end of your business so that the front end of your business feels more smooth and less scattered. I'm also a launch integrator for other female small business owners who need help at all the different phases of launching either a product or a group program. So I'm so glad you're here. Before we officially get started, I wanted to say and give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Enji. Now, Enji is an easy to use marketing software that helps you create a marketing plan in minutes and start making progress with the tools you need. Get started today by clicking on the link in the video description and receive 15% off of Enji. Again, check it out. I love Enji and I'm so excited to be introducing this tool to you in this video. All right, so let's get started. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, I really believe that a lot of small business owners tend to overcomplicate where to begin with understanding how to measure certain data points of their business. Because again, it's kind of like doing your own type of self-assessment. You have to be very self-aware and very conscious about where your business is tracking. Otherwise, you're kind of just like acting like you're blind and going throughout your business and playing it by ear or throwing spaghetti at the wall. And I don't want you to feel like you have to throw spaghetti at the wall all the time. And so these are some data points that are really good to track on not just a quarterly basis, I would argue on a monthly basis, so that you can have a pulse on your business. And again, this does not have to be complicated. So I really want to take a moment to peel back the curtain of how I use Enji in this data collection process. So I know I mentioned that Enji is a all-in-one software marketing tool, but it's also a tool that I utilize to gather all of my essential KPIs and data to make informed decisions for my business. One of my all-time favorite business quotes, I know it's not a business quote, but a lot of business owners use this, is this: if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. And that's how I kind of tend to look at KPIs and data measurement. Now, I am not an analyst by any stretch in the matter. No, don't come at me because I might say certain terms wrong, but I will say that when you start laying a really good foundation of data points for your business, even as a solo business owner, you can have a better pulse on your business and knowing how to forecast for the months ahead. And I'm not saying once you start doing that this week, after not reading data for the past X amount of years of owning your business, that you're going to know how to forecast. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you will have a really good pulse after collecting data points within a certain X amount of period of time. For me, I have noticed that after 12 months of collecting consistent data, I am able to track along and see when my high points of business will be and when my low points of business will be. All right, so this is a real behind the scenes look of a past year. So not current year, but a past year. It's my 2023 biz spreadsheet. I have my own tracking system that I use on my own to categorize where all my income is coming from. And that way, this data point is telling me, okay, what categories are your true money makers versus what categories are not bringing in anything. So Dolly, you need to assess that. And so I am showing you a little bit behind the scenes. Like I have had more categories than I needed. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different categories, and I'm not a big business. It's just me. And so I challenged myself for a full year to track where my money was coming in from. And this may not seem that impressive to like the big business owners who are like making a bazillion a year. But for me, as a small business owner, this brings in quite a good amount for me. And so I'm proud of it. And so I wanted you to see, like, after doing this, I saw that I needed to concentrate more on family photography and not branding photography because I was putting all my eggs in the basket of branding photography, but I was actually benefiting more from family photography because I have established my family photography business over time, over a span of 10 years, versus branding photography was in the past, I would say 5 years. But the income wasn't showing. And so that was a data point for me to look at in a real lens and assess and see what I needed to take out. And of course, I had different systems and workflow events for the education side. So those went really well. And then I saw that I wasn't getting a lot through my VIP days. And so I took those out as well because as people do love asking me questions about this, but it wasn't translating for me into income. It was just translating into people needing free help, which is fine. That's what my podcast is for. That's what this YouTube channel is for. And so I had to really make some hard decisions and take out a lot of these categories. And now I have all of these I have 5 different categories now. Like I just wanted to show you the power of creating, like sitting down, categorizing everything and determining at the end of the year, okay, is this worth it for me and my business? Do I want to continue to offer this? Or is this something that I feel like I have to because people keep on asking me questions? And if people are asking you questions, it might be a good indicator, like to do that service or just like dig into it further and see if it's just a question that they just want free advice on. Like you will see the difference. And so I have set up this system for myself through the years. I have a spreadsheet that I use every year. And now I have a bookkeeper and we dig into we categorize it even further. But to simplify it for yourself, I would say every month sit down and just determine like what your income types are, where your money is coming in from, and then categorize that so you know, like, okay, what should I put my marketing efforts towards? And that kind of takes me to my next point for this. Whew, I got a little nervous sharing that, but I just wanted you to see, like, in real time, like this was a past data point and it really at the end of that year, I'm not gonna lie, I had to cut through a lot of different categories that I felt in my gut were essential, but they weren't. They weren't essential. They weren't money makers. They were things I'm really good at, but they were things that people were not wanting to pay me for. They just wanted the free advice again. But then there were categories that people wanted me for and were paying me for, and I'm consistently getting paid that amount year after year, or like it seems to build on top of each other incrementally by my I have seen like a 10% to 15% increase year after year on certain categories. So that is why collecting those data points very meticulously, at least once a month, for your income types is really, really important, because it will tell you a story at the end of the year. And then you can decide, do I need to keep it or do I need to cut it? Okay, so also a part of this, I wanted to showcase to you how I use Enji in all of this. And this example I'm about to showcase to you showcases how Enji takes the data points that I'm putting in and creates like a visual for me. So I'm seeing how much I'm making versus how much I'm spending. And so you'll see, like, there's some months that I'm making a lot and not spending a lot. And then there's some months I'm spending more than I'm making. And so visually it's been helping me stay on the straight and narrow. All right, so let's jump into Enji. All right, so now we are in Enji, and there are so many different tabs to Enji. And remember, this is just getting started with KPIs and data points, okay? So when you're in Enji, I like to click on performance. And now Enji, that this company gives you so many different KPIs and data points to measure. Do I recommend doing all of them? No, especially if you are brand new at collecting data. This will overwhelm you, and this is like when you will start losing steam and like not wanting to do it. So I would say start with the basics. One of the ways I do is, after assessing my income and all my different, I guess, income sources, what I'm making versus my expenses, I input it in a key performance indicator or a data collection sheet in Enji, and they measure it visually for me. So I can see, like, there are some months where I'm making a lot in sales versus I'm actually like spending the same amount as I'm making. And so because I'm doing this over a year, and I've already known this about me and my business because of past reports, like from my bookkeeper or from past data sheets. I know that usually at the beginning of the year, that's when a lot of subscriptions are coming out of my business. I do yearly subscriptions, and so I know I should expect this is when I pay out a lot of subscriptions, versus in December and January, I'm also not making as much because I'm not working that much. It's December, it's the holidays. January, I have a very seasonal business, and so I'm not asked to do a lot of outdoor family photo sessions. And so I have known all of these data points leading up, and now I'm putting this in a visual chart for myself to look. And so if you're like, Dolly, it doesn't show a full year. Yeah, it doesn't. I've been doing this for many years, but now I'm starting to actually utilize the visual charts in Enji, and I can't wait to see the full year and measure it with my bookkeeper spreadsheet, all that fun stuff. But if you are a visual person, I would say start off with a visual of money made per month and weighing it against your business expenses, because the data doesn't lie. It will literally showcase to you, like, hey, this month you are like barely making even, or you're making more than you're spending. That's great. Or you're spending more than you're making. Not so great. So anyways, this is another good way of tracking your data. Right, so the second data point that I really want you to keep track of, that is an easy and approachable data point for you, the small business owner, is this. It is knowing how many clients you are working with per month. And this is why it's really important, because sometimes when you start tracking the amount of clients you're working with per month, and then overall you look back and you see, okay, in February I worked with 5 and I made X amount of dollars. In March I worked with 15 clients and I made X amount of dollars. And then you measure that with the data point of your marketing, you will see how your marketing efforts might have impacted the way you got more clients. I'm hoping I'm explaining this well. We are going to open up Enji and I can show you more of a visual. Okay, like I shared, point 2 is I love like collecting the data on the total number of clients per month that I've served for both Dolly DeLong photography and for Dolly DeLong education, because I offer one-to-one launch integration services. And then I also offer family photography packages. So those are my clients in that category. And so instead of me being on an emotional roller coaster, which as a small business owner, we're all guilty of that, all right? But instead of being on an emotional roller coaster, I can simply, like with this data collected through the year, I can look back. If I am sitting in, let's say it's February of next year, and I am getting overwhelmed with thinking, oh, I bet last February I had all the clients and I was making so much money. I can just go back in this chart and look and see, oh no, in February you had 0 clients. You know why? Because it was a slower month for you. Also, in February, I don't take on any one-to-one clients because that's usually when I'm launching, all right? And so then I can like rest assured and know I'm like helping my future self out and know, okay, Dolly, this is normal. You did not have any clients in February. And so that's why it's really important. And then this makes sense. Look, because normally, and I started tracking these all visually around October, November. Let's say October 2023 is when I visually started tracking this, because I needed to see this. I was writing it down in an Excel spreadsheet, but because there was no visuals attached to it, it still wasn't helping my brain out at all when I was looking back at the numbers. And so this is what I love about Enji, is that they give you can put in your data, but then they help you visualize it, because as creative minded business owners, we need that reminder, like, hey, what we're doing, it helps out with our marketing. Our marketing is impacting like the clients, and it's helping us be more at ease. I hope I'm communicating that correctly. So I wanted you to see, like, for example, as a family photographer, a lot of my clients are coming in October and November. I had a lot in September. I know this, but I didn't put it in because I started using it in October. So in October and November, I had a lot. And then I also know that in February I had 0, because that's when I'm normally launching. I'm concentrating on a launch. I normally don't have any photography clients in February unless they're studio clients, but the majority of my clients are coming in like in late spring and then late summer through November. Like that's like my busy season. And so these numbers will be higher as the months progress. And then whenever I have a launch, and like it will showcase that as well. And so again, this is helping me better talk to my future self. So when I am having moments of panic in the future, let's say, like I said again, when I open this up in February of 2025, which is really weird to say, I can see like, Dolly, there's really nothing you need to worry about, because I am planning on a future launch in February of 2025. And because that's like normally how it works with my marketing calendar, I I don't have to worry about one-to-one clients. All right. And so I wanted to showcase to you, small business owner, this is another really good data point to track because it showcases to you, again, like when the majority of your business is coming. Like, again, you might have a seasonal business, or if you don't have a seasonal business, and it's consistent, then you can see, oh, like, I wonder what marketing efforts I'm doing to help me keep this consistent, or I wonder why there are certain dips in the year when I'm keeping, and what am I doing with my marketing? And this kind of goes into the next point I'm going to be sharing, but track the number of clients you get per month because it will tell you a story through the year. Okay, so I kind of hinted at this in point 2, but point 3 is more collecting data points to help you determine where your marketing efforts are producing a lot of fruit versus where you're coming up dry. Because again, we as small business owners, and I'm guilty of this, raise your hand if you're guilty of it because I'm guilty of this, is I tend to either put a lot of eggs in one basket emotionally, or I tend to scatter myself because I think I have to be everywhere, or I tend to just like think I'm not going to do anything and I just give up on it all. Instead of doing any of those things, I don't want us to fall into one of those 3 categories. Instead, this is the more technical part that I encourage you to do. So I know we're talking a lot about data and measuring KPIs, but a step you actually should be taking is making sure that you have GA4, or used to be called Google Analytics. Now they changed it to GA4, data tracking set up on your website, because your website is the hub, is what you actually own. You don't own social media. You don't even own YouTube. I don't own YouTube, even though this is a platform I love using. And so I want to encourage you, small business owner, to just Google, go to Google and Google how to set up tracking for if you have a Show It website or a Squarespace website or a Wix. There are helpful articles for you from those website host platforms. So look it up. If you have to pause this video, pause it, and then figure out how to set up Google Analytics tracking, because point 3 really talks about digging into those data points based off of you, like contingent upon you setting up your Google Analytics tracking. So do that, all right? Okay, so assuming that you know that you have your Google Analytics tracking, or GA4 tracking, set up on the back end of your website, do that, please. And after you do that, you'll be able to measure this type of data. You'll be able to measure your website views so I have it specifically for Dolly DeLong photography, and then I have another KPI chart for my education side of my business. So in this example, I want to show you visually that I have been tracking my website page views for Dolly DeLong photography, and it tells me a story. Again, it tells me a story of, okay, my marketing efforts, like what am I doing in these certain months to bring in people? And so, notice I'm not as active in my marketing at the, at the end of November to December to January. Why? Because of the holidays. And so you will notice that my website page views are lower versus in this month, like around the time that I have a launch, I'm going to say over here and over here when I have a launch, normally in the middle of, I want to say exact dates, but these are not exact. In the middle of the summer and around springtime, I have launches going on, and so there are more web page views. And then normally from March, April, May, like this is my busy time of months for photography. And then over here are my busy times of months for photography. So I have developed a system for marketing myself and like post photo session. So I have an SOP down for after a session, I am able to market what I did so I can showcase my work, and it's driving more people to my website. I have that down. If you're interested in seeing that system, let me know in the comments and I will share that. We'll create a video just for you for that. But I wanted to showcase to you the importance of, again, in order for me to gather this data, you have to, like, I have to have put in analytics with Google, like Google Analytics 4. Okay, they keep on changing their name, Google Analytics 4, so that I can know my website page views, I can understand website visitors and users, and other metrics as well. There are hundreds of different KPIs, but a very easy KPI to measure month after month for your website is website visitors or users, and then website page views. And then if you measure this month after month after month after month, it will show you. And then if you measure, if you will also hopefully know like what your marketing efforts were that month. You can even develop an SOP for every month, how you market, and develop KPI data points for yourself. And then you can measure that against each other, and you will know like, oh, when I did this Instagram story challenge, I noticed that brought in more page views to this certain page. Or when I ran this ad on Facebook, I don't do meta ads, so maybe that's a bad example, sorry. Or maybe when I did this reel challenge, or maybe when I wrote this blog post, for example, and I shared it, I noticed that my website visitors went up, and it was in July, for example. I just want you to see like there are so like it's really fun to collect all of these data points and then to see them visually, and then to know, oh, this was up because this is the month that I did this. Oh, that makes sense. I'm going to do that again. So again, I don't want you to be on a roller coaster of emotions with your business. Like this is another reason why it's so important to maintain a cadence month after month of collecting and understanding these different data points for you, so that you know like what to expect after collecting data for a year. Okay, so really quickly in recap, the 3 data points that I really want you to start tracking, as either if you are a brand new business owner and you're like, I am going to start collecting data, or you're in the messy middle, you decided to set up a system for yourself, or you are a more experienced business owner, you're still running the show on your own, you want to make more data-driven decisions wherever you are. Congratulations. So let's do a quick recap. So the first thing I want you to start collecting data on is where your money is actually coming in. So categorize your money, categorize your expenses, and weigh them every single month. Start developing data points for yourself for that, all right? Number 2, start understanding how many clients are coming in month after month. And so that way you can expect, after a year of measuring this data, you can expect certain months to be a lower or higher, or if it's consistent, you'll know what type of marketing you're doing, if it's driving those clients, or if you are taking time off, you know that's why that month was lower. So start understanding how many clients on average you're serving per month. And then point number 3 is putting in the Google Analytics 4, GA4 tracking on the back end of your website. A reminder again, you can easily Google that help article to figure out how to do that on the back end of your own website. And once you're doing that, you can then collect data on how many website visitors are coming to your website, and you can see what marketing, you can measure that against what your marketing efforts are. So if you are consistent in marketing, then you can know, okay, this is driving this. So if you're consistent in marketing on Instagram and you're marketing a certain blog post, for example, that's on your website that has the Google Analytics tracking on the back end, and then you know, like, oh, from Instagram, a lot of website visitors are coming to my website because guess what? Google Analytics is telling you that. But you won't be able to know your specific channels again without that Google Analytics tracking set up. So do that. Now, as a quick reminder, if you are like me and you need more visuals in your life, in your business to showcase these data tracking points, then I want to point you towards Enji, again, the sponsor of this video. And if you click on the link below in this video, then you will get 15% off of your membership, your monthly membership with them for the first 2 months. And so that way you can start collecting data, tracking everything visually, and collecting like a marketing story for yourself to better forecast for your business. And I do want to say I'm planning on making more Enji related videos because Enji has so many capabilities. I literally just scratched the surface to showcase to you for this data collection related video. But I promise you, if you want more Enji related marketing videos, let me know in the comments below and let me know specifically what you are wanting. If you watched all the way through, I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I want you to know that I come every Friday with a brand new YouTube video that's geared around systems, workflow, SOP, and launching education. So if this was helpful for you, feel free to like and subscribe to this channel and share it with a friend and share it with a biz bestie as well. And then also let me know if there are any specific topics you want me to talk about pertaining to systems, workflows, SOPs, and launching, and I will be sure to develop those videos for you. All right? Until then, have a streamlined and magical week, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye.